You ready?
Hey, listen!
Get some.
Yeah.
Hey, listen!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Lawrence's Let's Plays. Today I'm bringing to you a video that's going to be my kind of month-end review. I guess I'm about a month and maybe a week into this game, having played since global launch, and I'm going to kind of air my grievances or criticisms at the game, but also obviously praise the game. There's a lot that it's got going for it that I really enjoy, but there's certainly some things in this game that I don't like as much and or need to be changed, that I hope that Moonton really listens to other content creators that have an even larger voice than I do, and implements changes that will definitely see this game see a lot more longevity. Also, the ability to draw more players in is kind of the hope. To my return viewers, thanks so much for your continued support. If you're new to the channel, thanks as well for stopping by. Guys, as always, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, to continue to help my channel to grow. With nothing really left to say, I'm Lawrence, and let's play. So, first off, let's start with the positives about the game. As you saw on my thumbnail, you'll see that one of the things I absolutely want to praise Moonton as the devs of this game for is they are extremely generous. And what do I mean by that specifically? Throughout the different events that they've introduced in this first month that the game has been out, they've done a fantastic job of giving us free resources. One of the main free resources that they give us, and we'll jump in here into the events, is the ability to summon for our heroes. That's great. So if you look at the 7-day sign-in that we're currently in, 3, 8, 11, 14, they're giving us 17 free rare summoning crystals over the course of a 7-day period, 1 legendary summoning crystal, and 2 of the ancient summoning crystals that will benefit people even if they didn't have ancient summoning crystals for this ancient summoning crystal event to summon for Morrigan. They're at least getting 2 tries before the event ends. So that's really cool, and they do a fantastic job of that, always providing us resources, even in the event shop currently, in the event going on. It's really easy. If you go in here and you look, the previous thing, the Wild Sands, was really easy to get a bunch of points from, and if you go into the redeem shop, you'll see I redeemed for every single one of the rare summoning crystals there that were, I forget how much they were a piece, but they gave us, 6 that were in that shop to buy. So, excuse me, they do a great job of giving us free stuff, in particular the ability to summon, where a lot of other gacha games I've played over the years are extremely stingy when it comes to that aspect. So kudos to Moonton for that, for always providing us additional resources for free, especially summoning, which is the main part of a gacha game, to be able to summon and get more heroes. So that's certainly a very big positive. Kudos to Moonton for that. Also, I'll say I absolutely love the design of this game in terms of the aesthetic, the graphics, the character designs, in particular the legendaries, and the fact that several of the legendaries get their own cinematic. The time it takes to be able to create something like that is a lot of thought on the part of the devs, because that's the kind of shit that we want to see, right? We want to see really cool looking characters. We want to see that they have really cool skills in their kits, and see the animations, and the animations look really cool. So that's a big positive as well. I'm also a huge fan of the strategic gameplay involved. I love the fact that they decided to make this a tower defense game. I really enjoy that, and I like that there's a lot of freedom involved in terms of coming up with different team comp strategies for being able to get through a stage, and also being able to 3-star stage. As you'll see, many other content creators who certainly have a much larger voice than I do, someone like Ma Bucket, someone like Dan Heilman, Ivy League Gaming, they're showing off, Karzak, they're showing off these these cool strats where you can simply use rare heroes to complete harder content, and that's really cool. It's really refreshing to see that you don't have to specifically have heroes, although I will say that there are some stages that if you don't have a specific hero, and the harder stages like the gear raids, it will be extremely difficult to be able to put together a proper team comp to beat some of that harder content. But overall, love the strategic gameplay involved. Love the design, the aesthetics of the game, the graphic style, the character designs, the animations. All that stuff's fantastic. So there's a lot going for this game that I absolutely love, as you can tell. It has rapidly shot up for me as one of my top 5 favorite gacha games I've ever played. I feel like it continues to rise. It may eventually even be number 1, although that would be difficult to beat Dragon Boys, because I played Dragon Boys for 5 years, guys. Like, I absolutely love Dragon Boys. But then they kind of ruined the game, and that's a whole other story, the changes they made. But so those are the really positive things about the game. To kind of recap, the devs are extremely generous in this game. Moonton does a great job of being extremely generous, even in like just gifting us like codes and stuff to give us more free stuff, resources like diamonds and things like that. That's fantastic. Character designs, strategic gameplay, love all that stuff. Now I want to level my criticisms. And I think we all, after having played this game for about a month, and even newer players are going to certainly feel this crunch as well, and they're going to understand where I'm coming from. There are some things I do not like. For one thing, drop rates in this game, and I know most content creators will focus on drop rates based on summoning heroes, but I'm going to level this on multiple things. The drop rates in this game are absolutely abysmal. They are horrendous. Because, and I am an exception to that rule, I am an extreme exception, and I will show you when I go in and show you the amount of legendary heroes I have, at least in that regard, but I'm including gear drops as well. Gear drops in this game are ridiculous. I will show you, I've actually crunched numbers to kind of prove my point as to how bad gear drops are. And then ultimately, what kind of encompasses everything, the worst thing about this game that I really hope that Moonton listens to content creators that are getting their voices out there, making their voices heard, and I'm certainly trying to do that as well. The stamina in this game is a real issue, because in order to fully level up a hero, to have to farm for the promotion raid, or the promotion raids and the resource raids. This stuff's really expensive. You'll see I haven't even unlocked Chapter 8 yet. I haven't really been grinding for the new Chapter 9 yet, which I really like that brand new Chapter 2. I love the design and the aesthetic of that as well. But even at 7, 36 stamina. 36 stamina just to auto run this one time. I haven't taken the time to crunch exactly what it is from beginning of needing how much hero XP to get a hero, clearly leveled up to a 6-star, but it's a lot. It is a lot. But and then the gold required to even level up the gear. Again, let's go into the gold rate. How much is a gold rate at stage 7? 26 stamina just to do this one time. So in essence, you see I have 469 auto tries. If I were to do 100 of those, that is 2,600 stamina for gold. Luckily, I have Captain Reeve. I also have Razok, so because of their bond skill or whatever, I get, I believe it's 10% extra gold, and then I also get, for Hero XP, I get it to 12% or something like that. So I get a nice little bonus, but that is a lot of stamina. That's just kind of one thing, but my biggest point that I'm making here about the stamina is the issue with the, is with the gear. First, before I jump into that, let me talk about the drop rates for the heroes. I kind of got sidetracked there. So, drop rates for heroes. So, most of the summoning for a legendary hero, so we know that the, what am I trying to say? The pity timer. The pity timer is 200 summons to guarantee a legendary, right? And I know I have watched several other content creators when they do like their summoning sessions, like live streams, like Ivy Lee Gaming. Be sure to definitely subscribe to her channel. She's got great videos. So does Ma Bucket. So does Karzak. So does Dan Heilman. A bunch of them. When you look at their summoning sessions and you see like people's accounts, when they go over and they kind of show people's accounts, I am seeing people that have like 2,500, these are even spenders that are big spenders that have like 2,500 summons, and they might have like 7 legendary heroes. right? If we're going on a pity timer of 200 summons to guarantee a legendary, that means that they would have at least about 20, if they have, say, 2,000, and every 200, they should have about, like 9 legendary heroes, and they might have like 6 or 7. Like, I've seen this time and time and time again, that the drop rates for these legendary heroes is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I am the exception to the rule. I'm an extreme exception to the rule. I want to kind of showcase my heroes and who I have thus far 1 month into playing the game. So I have Cetrum. I also have Silas. I've got Vierna. I managed to pull both of them, all 3 of them during their banners. I also got Salazar, pulled him during his banner. Got Captain Reeve, pulled him during his banner. Got Comet. I got Nyx. I got Razak, did not pull him during his banner, pulled him outside of the banner. I've got a Zilla2. I've got a Nocturne, Valkyra, Abomination, a Volca, and a Legendary Lord Torador, which is crazy that I actually managed to get one of those. Now I want to go through this and show you how crazy and how definitely mine is the exception to the rule. Like, don't look at this account and think like this is what everyone's doing, because they're not. I'd say about 50% of the player base out of the summons, when I show you the summons, it's going to blow your mind. The low amount of summons that I've done to get all these heroes. I can guarantee you 50% of the player base, because the drop rates are so abysmal in this game, they probably have 1,000 more summons than me and have half or even less than half of the heroes I have. So let me point out that the Cetrum I got during his banner here just recently, and you'll see he's A1. I actually pulled a double Cetrum on a 10 pull, which is just, I don't even know how ridiculous that is to get 2 legendaries and a 10 pull, but to get 2 legendaries that were featured heroes and 1 10 pull is just nuts. You'll also see I've got Comet at A1 as well. And I've also got Nocturne at A1 as well. Now, that is, if you count Cetrum twice, that's 2. Silas is 3. Vierna 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because 2 Comets. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 2 Nocturnes, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then I also had Ezrin. I'll prove that right here by going into the gallery. I know you should never really get rid of your legendaries, but in the Esoterra, you see I clearly had Ezrin as he's highlighted. He's not in a silhouette. But I got rid of him. I think something was going on where I could get rid of him, and there was a good stone for one of my other heroes. So the point being, if you look at this, of these heroes, believe it or not, I'm only counting the heroes that I summoned. The only one out of those I did not summon is Volca, because Volca you get for free from doing the storyline quest. So that is actually 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then you count Ezrin. That's 17 legendary heroes I've got. Now, let me show you how many times I actually summoned. It's going to blow your mind. You're not even going to believe it. So let me show you my summoning details. I haven't even summoned 1,500 times, guys. 1,486 summons. So when I say the drop rates are horrendous, I'm actually speaking out more for other people, like what I would say is probably 50% of the population that's playing this game, that the drop rates have got to increase. Moonton has to do something about that. I'm not complaining because my rates have been ridiculous. Look, I'm at 1,486 and I got that many heroes. That's nuts, because I want to point out you also saw Abomination. I will go in and prove to you. You'll see I've never fused Abomination. I actually summoned him. I'm still waiting on another copy of Vortex so I can actually fuse him and then give him an A1. I summoned him. So I have like 17. And if you do the math on that, out of 1,500 and 200 is the pity timer, divide that by 15, I should really only have about 7 legendary heroes that I've summoned for, and I have like 17. So I am the extreme exception to the rule. Again, I'm just reaching out, or I'm trying to make my voice known and heard based on what I feel is about 50% of the player population, based on other summoning videos I've watched where people are doing live streams again, like Ma Bucket, Ivy League Gaming, things like that. Carjack, showing that the drop rates that a lot of these people are experiencing are really bad. Again, I'm just an extreme exception to the rule, but so that's a big negative to me. That the drop rates for legendaries really needs to increase. And while we're on that subject, when you summon, rare summoning crystals are a joke. As far as summoning single pulls, they are an absolute joke. I've probably summoned about 50 when I've not had a full 10 to pull. I've probably summoned about 50 single pull rare summons, and I will guarantee you I've got less than 5 epics from that. Like, that's crazy. To not even get an epic, and it's usually just rare tax, is pretty sad. Now, here's my biggest point that I wanted to make about stamina. Stamina in this game is a real issue, because as far as the gearing is concerned, I will show you, going into the gear, if you look at my gear raid where I'm at, gear raid 1, I do have that down to stage 18. Stage 18, you'll see, finally starts dropping ancient mythic gear. Great. I can also do stage gear raid 3 at 17. It also drops ancient mythic gear. Drop rates on ancient mythic gear are horrible. Absolutely horrible. All the time that I've summoned, and I will show you right now what I've got, and then I'll kind of go over roughly how much I've summoned, or how many times I've farmed rather for gear to try to drop ancient mythic gear. But let's just let me just give you an idea here. Let me jump into my gear. Okay, you see one shiny little piece, ancient mythic gear. I took the time, I crunched the numbers, I already did the math. I'm not going to scroll through all this stuff to show you, but just put it this way. So out of the two pieces, these two pieces of gear, 79 on the one, 78 on the other. That's a 157 pieces of gear. Out of the three pieces, it's 44, 44, and 37 for 125 total pieces of gear. Out of those two, combine those together, that is 282 pieces of gear. To grind for those 282 pieces of gear, it cost me over 6,200 stamina. Again, this is just what I have extra gear currently from farming here recently. 6,200 stamina. So out of 282 pieces of gear, I have one ancient mythic to show for that grind, as I showed you right here at the top. And then somewhere I have an ancient legendary. I think it's in one of the three pieces. Right there. Ancient legendary, which, in my opinion, ancient legendary is pointless, because you're always going to want mythic gear to begin with, so why even bother adding ancient legendary? I would rather increase my chance of getting ancient mythic. But the chance of getting ancient mythic is absolutely horrendous. I showed you that I'm farming stages. Granted, if I pushed a little bit harder, get a little bit further in the stages, I'm sure the drop rates increase a little bit. But even the fact that I'm at a point where I can farm that ancient mythic gear, and I have one piece to show for that out of 282 times that I've farmed that gear and used up 6,200 stamina, is crazy. Now take into consideration in the time that I've played this game, and it sounds like I'm really just like lobbing a lot of criticisms. Clearly, I wanted to start with the things I really like about the game. I love this game; it's a fantastic game. But this is the stamina issue definitely needs to something needs to change. So in this first month that I've played, I'm going to say gear alone, I have probably spent about 40,000. I'd say 40,000 stamina in a month just on gear alone. I'm not even including promotion raid and XP potions and gold farming. So let's say out of 40,000, I'm going to say, for sake of argument, it probably would be about 20,000 stamina that I farmed for gear since being able to actually get mythic gear. So let's crunch the numbers and let's do some math here. Because if you go in, and I will show you here in the raids, gear raid 1, I believe it's 22, yeah, 22 stamina, and you'll see that gear raid 3, I'm using 22 stamina as well. So let's say 20,000 stamina I've farmed for. Let's divide that by 22. That means, roughly, I have farmed for about 900 pieces of gear. And I know for a fact I got one other ancient mythic drop, and it was a crap piece of gear, and I ended up selling it. So, in summation, in over 1,000, because I showed you 282 is what's currently sitting as extra gear that I'm not even full with leveling up. That is over 1,000 pieces of gear. In fact, that's 909 plus 282, guys. That's 1,191 pieces of gear. In 1,191 pieces of gear, I have managed to get 2 pieces of ancient mythic gear to drop. I don't know if this is norm, if the drop rates are just that low. Please do mention in the comments if you've had better luck getting ancient mythic gear, if you're able to farm these stages that start dropping ancient, the gear raid stages that start dropping ancient mythic gear. But that to me is horrendous. 1,191 pieces of gear roughly is what I've earned in this first month, and I have 2 pieces of ancient mythic gear to account for. So that means that I have spent roughly, 20,000 or so odd stamina for 1,100, almost 1,200 pieces of gear, and have only had like 2 ancient mythic pieces of gear to account for. That's crazy. That, Moonton, needs to change. The drop rates on gear is so horrendous, and that all just falls in line with the biggest issue of the game for me, which is stamina. There's just not enough stamina. I mean, you have to farm for promotion rates. You got to farm for gold and XP potions, and I showed you how ridiculously expensive XP potions get to be. And just think, once you get to Chapter 8, it's then 50. It ends up being 50 stamina every time you farm this. And again, I've not pushed Chapter 9 enough to get it. Look at that, 50 stamina just to farm one time for this these XP potions. So that's kind of my take on the game after a month. Don't want to make this too much longer. A lot of really good things the game's doing. Moonton has to be praised for how generous they've been with giving us the ability to summon, getting more summoning crystals for free, granting us other resources we need, like diamonds, more gold, things like that. But definitely need to do something about this stamina. Stamina is definitely an issue, and these drop rates, these drop rates for gear are absolutely just horrible. I mean, absolutely need to change that. And again, speaking on behalf of people who have had really bad luck with the summoning drop rates need to be better as well. Again, I am an extreme exception. As I showed you, less than 1,500 summons. I have like 17 like legendary heroes, which is crazy. Even duplicates of heroes. So yeah, these are the things that I would say that they definitely need to change: the stamina and the drop rates, which all falls in line with stamina, the drop rates for summoning, and the drop rates for gear for certain. I appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you guys for stopping by. I really do. Thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. Make sure that you do turn on notifications so you'll know as soon as I've uploaded new videos. As again, this is my main channel, or my main focus of my channel is Walter of Realms content, because again, I absolutely love this game, and I'm really looking forward to see the longevity of this game and see where it goes, and the changes that Moonton may hope to implement, with the stamina, for instance, and these drop rates of gear, which is absolutely horrible. Make sure that if you haven't, you do subscribe to the channel to help my channel to grow. I do appreciate you guys for stopping by as always. This is Lawrence for Lawrence's Let's Plays, and I'm out of here. Take care, everybody. I'll see you real soon.